Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Bud Shaw and I had lucrative speaking engagements last night after the show. We have done this event for the past 6 or 7 years. 75% of the questions concern the Cleveland Browns, and most of them over the years were positive. But last night was a little different. Maybe it's because they think that the Browns' problems are solved, but they mostly complained about the Cleveland Indians, the winners of 3 straight division titles and headed for their 4th in a row. Is it their fault that Francisco Lindor or Mike Clevenger got hurt? Their job is to get to the postseason, not to fight off teams from the East or the West. That comes in October, and right now there's only one clear choice as to who is going to have the best chance to win the postseason. Are you sure it's going to be New York? How about Boston? How about Tampa Bay or any other team in the West? The clear choice to get to the postseason? The Cleveland Indians. Dennis Manoloff is here. More sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine on a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd consecutive year. And as always, brought to you exclusively on cleveland.com. The D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, is here from WTAM now. We will identify that. And welcome for the first time as a TAMer?
Well, I mean, I'm sub-hosting.
Sub-hosting.
Yeah, it's nothing regular, but I'm very grateful to be on the air when I am.
Okay. So. Well, on that station today, you could have heard the Cleveland Indians win a 4-0 game over the Detroit Tigers. People say, well, it's only the Tigers. I don't give a darn, D-Man. Just give me wins. At the end of the year, tell me where I play.
Exactly, and the Tigers entered this series above 500.
Right.
They still might be, actually, but they're not expected to stay there.
No.
I mean, they're in a rebuild.
So here you have the Indians, 4 runs on 11 hits, 1 error, and Detroit 0-3-0. And Bieber got himself a nice win tonight, 7 innings pitched. And you see it all right there. Santana continues to hit. What's with this guy?
Some of it's opposite field, willingness to go the opposite way. That's really encouraging.
Well, if he does that, if they're smart, they're going to move over, and now he can take his natural swing and hit through the shift.
Yeah, Santana is a notoriously slow start. I don't know exactly what his numbers are every single April, but it always seems like he doesn't really get it going until mid-May.
Same thing with the manager, Terry Francona.
Hey, if Carlos is going to be this, I'm not saying he's going to be able to sustain this level of success, but if he can get off to a good start and then do his usual work later in the season, then the Indians will have a really nice player.
All right, here's the problem, though. It's called the injury bug, and let's take a look at that, and you'll see what the Indians have to fight off. There you see the list, and it's
Frankie Lindor.
Yeah, Lindor, and, of course, Jason Kipnis, and down at the bottom,
Tyler Clippard.
Yeah, Tyler Clippard. We haven't even heard much from him. So we'll see what happens there. They're going to have to go to Columbus to get themselves a pitcher for a weekend game here, and that's Jeffrey Rodriguez. And Rodriguez pitched with the Washington Nationals. And there you see his record. Average pitcher, right, for a starter?
Yeah. Where did he come? Did he come in the Gomes deal, was it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and Gomes hitting pretty well. Well, he's hitting about the way he had hit here. But Perez hasn't hurt them too badly.
No, they believe in Roberto Perez. They love his defense for starters,
right,
and his ability to handle his staff. They probably think his offense is a bonus. I wonder if he's going to have enough offense to sustain him for 130 games. But he's
by
been
the way,
so
these things on the injury really
don't include Clev.
Doesn't include Clev because you don't know now. What you heard is 6 to 8 weeks without even picking up a baseball, let alone throwing it.
Yeah. I mean, you never want to play doctor. We always wind up doing it to a degree. But I'm of the belief you just don't count on Clevenger for anything right now. I mean, you can't sit there and go, well, he's automatically going to be ready to rumble by no later than August 1st. How do you know?
No, you don't know. When you hear 6 to 8 weeks, that's, you're talking about professional athletes, the way they train, the way they rehab, and could be more, could be less. Doctors just kind of give you a thumbnail sketch of what they think it'll be. And then you work out the rehab, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
And I'm not sure, Les, about the surgery yet. I don't think there's any decision that's been made. I've been checking the Twitter and checking the wires and cleveland.com. I don't see that anything has happened there. But they were talking about maybe the surgery gets you back quicker than the non-surgery, which is somewhat unusual.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right.
I mean, he picked the wrong muscle to strain, I guess. Out of all the muscles
it didn't look like he hurt anything. He felt when it happened that he wouldn't even miss a start, but obviously that was incorrect.
Yeah, it sounds to me like there's the group of muscles there in the shoulder and back area, and I guess you could really do damage to one of them and still feel like you could feel pain, but you could survive it.
Right.
But you don't want to do that because you're going to have to pay that piper eventually.
You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/moresports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. You send it in to us, and we'll get it on. Try to keep your comments as quickly as you can, and you got a better chance of getting on. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can also catch us. You can text us at. Help me out here, D-Man.
216-575-0403 is the number.
Yes, it is.
Is that the text number?
No, the text number is the real Les Levine at gmail.com. There you go. We got it. I knew we'd get to it eventually. Facebook.com. We'll come back in a moment. The D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, with us. You're watching More Sports and Les Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
To present the 2019 Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Radio to Les Levine.
There you go. That happened today. Standing ovation by the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff.
There we go. Well, we have I was standing up.
Yes, you were.
Incredible job. I'm so proud of you, Les, for your achievement. Just one of many in your career, but a big one, obviously. There's Brian, our man Brian, but there's Bud, of course. But nobody deserves it more than you do.
Thank you. We had almost 300 people there today at Windows on the River, an incredible crowd, and we appreciate everything. And you don't think about it. You say, you try to be modest. They say it's not a big deal. You want to know something that's a big deal.
Yeah, that looks like a big deal. It really is. That Wayne Dawson there as well?
It is Wayne Dawson. Wayne Dawson, Sally Spitz, and I won't say inducted. It's not a Hall of Fame, but we were presented with the awards, and it couldn't have been nicer. I had people come in from Virginia without telling me. I had Steve Liverani, who used to run Fox Sports Ohio. He got More Sports Than Les Levine started on TV back in 1996, and he came without me knowing, and that's pretty cool stuff.
I mean, you've had an impact on so many lives, not just professionally, but personally. With me, it crosses both lines, the professional and the personal. And also, let's not forget the Terry Pluto article, too, that he wrote
special. He
in
wrote
the
it last week.
Playdealer and .com, which
Yeah.
was tremendous. You deserved to have that amount of space. You probably deserve more. But it was great to read. It was a roller coaster of emotions, too, when you think about stuff you've been through, what Jeremy's been through, your family. So, I'm glad that Terry gave you that space to let people know how great you are.
Well, I don't know about that, but thank you very much. And he's so good at it. We were talking about my 50-year career and some health issues, and he asked me 2 questions about my first year in broadcasting. The next thing you know, Zoom, what about your health issues that are going on? And by the way, I've had a lot of people ask, as many people know, I have gone public with the fact that a little over a year ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I'm doing great. The doctors have told me I'm doing way ahead of, or right on schedule. You don't get way ahead of schedule because you don't get cured. You just want to fend it off for as long as you can. And knock on wood, so far I'm doing that. And I feel so bad for some of the other people that I work out with, or you know what they prescribe for you, exercise-wise?
What's that?
Boxing. So I take a boxing class once or twice a week, and 72-year-old ladies beat me up sometimes.
I was going to say, I better be careful.
I got that left jab is pretty good. No, because you're making movements all the time, and that's what you got to do in this nasty disease. You got to move as often as you can. So I appreciate what the CAB, Cleveland Association of Broadcasters, did today, honoring the 3 of us. And again, you want to make a little deal of it, like it's not important, but it is important. And it was special, and a lot of people came in, and we thank them very much. 216-575-0403. You know, it's interesting, D-Man, and you're crossing over and back between writing and broadcasting and personalities and talk radio and all that stuff. And when I started, there were no, I don't want to say role models, but nobody to follow. Pete Franklin invented the genre, but he did it a little different than, other people came along, me and other local people, and we did it a different way. And some of the stuff that we're doing is kind of going all over the country now, and talk radio isn't Pete Franklin anymore.
You were one of the first TV sports talk show type things
in the country,
that I can recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't remember seeing many before yours came along.
No, there might have been, but if so, we don't know about it. Steve Liverani invented it, and some of us have gone different ways with this, but we appreciate the opportunity to do that. And one of the things that, if you see this show, for example, you're watching it right now, or if you watched it when it was other places, the technology that we are able to have is so good, and the people that we have doing it, Mike Bacon and his crew, are as good as anybody that you're going to come across. And we've got some young kids working in the back. We've got some older kids working in the back. And this show in particular looks as good as any show in the country.
Totally agree.
And the D-Man, you are a part of it. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right, the Indians win 2 out of 3, and they go to Kansas City now. They should do 2 out of 3 again, or even better than that. Kansas City is a horrible team. And again, if we talk about not caring who you play, then you go to Seattle, who's hot right now, but you play them as they come on the schedule. And so out of these, it's a 9-game road trip. They're 2-1 in the first 3, and there's no reason why you can't go 2-1 in the next 2 series.
Agreed. And to me, it is early, of course, but I think the Twins will have staying power. I think they'll be around for most of the season, if not all of the season, giving the Indians some grief, if you will, or some competition.
Right.
But I still believe the Indians are the class of the division.
Yeah.
Because of the rotation. Now, they took a big hit with Clevenger, so now all of a sudden that rotation doesn't look as dominant, but they can still come at you with at least 4 proven arms now?
Sure.
Because I'm putting Bieber in the proven category.
You almost have to now.
I mean, he's that good.
You almost have to now. And hopefully some of the bats will come back in Kipnis and Gonzalez, and we'll see what we have.
And Lindor hopefully sooner than later.
Hopefully. And even if it's just Kipnis and Gonzalez, it's going to give the opposing pitchers something to worry about. None of them want Gonzalez. They don't want to face him.
Yes, Les, but here's the thing. There is a concern. We talked about this pre-show. Jose Ramirez. I'm not going to say the Indians can't go where they want to go if Ramirez is just an average player, but they certainly could use the old Jose Ramirez. Absolutely. Or even 80% of the old Jose Ramirez, and we haven't seen that in basically almost half a season now, 75-some games.
Yeah, and he was in trouble the year before, the last part of the year before. There's some Cavaliers news today, D-Man, and that is that Larry Drew, who's been the interim coach of the Cavaliers, and
don't call me interim.
Don't call me interim. Pay me big time.
Yeah.
They've decided, the Cavaliers and Drew. The wording of this is they've decided to part ways.
Mutually agree to part ways. I think they all came out with statements. Drew had a quote within, I believe, the Cavs statement. He said, no offense to anything, it was time to go. I think, according to Chris Fedor, cleveland.com, beat reporter of covering the Cavs, he said that his sources told him that Larry Drew was offered the opportunity to be one of the interviewees, one of the candidates.
For the head coach.
Yes, and Drew politely declined, and that's what led to the parting of ways. Because I'm sure Drew thinks, why do I have to interview?
You see what I am. Well,
you should
if
just
you go by
extend me if you think if I should be the coach.
Unless it was the performance is way below what the marching orders were. I'm not sure what the marching orders were, by the way.
Yeah, I don't believe, as much as I've railed against the Cavs, in my opinion, having too much fun along the way en route to 19-63. I don't think the record is the issue. With Drew, I thought he did as much as he could. In a lot of respects, he was dealt a bad hand. No LeBron injuries, specifically supposedly the cornerstone Kevin Love. Had to deal with a lot of young guys with growing pains. Those young guys seemed to get better under Larry Drew's tutelage. So I don't think it was the record that was the issue. I just think it was the Cavaliers ownership, or Kobe Altman, Gilbert, that combination, wanting to move on to a different voice, maybe a guy more offensive oriented. But
I don't think, in retrospect, I don't think Larry Drew had a chance.
Well, that's probably what he was thinking, or in fact, I know it's what he was thinking when he said, I don't want to be called interim.
Right.
Make sure that he wanted some semblance of security, because he had a feeling that they weren't on board with Larry Drew for the next 5 years.
And they're not going to hire him as an assistant, so.
Yeah, if he's going to be an assistant in the NBA, it's not going to be on this team, a team that he just was the head coach for. I liken him, I see a parallel with Greg Williams, Les. The Greg Williams for the Browns, Larry Drew for the Cavs. Williams did a nice job given the circumstances. Pat on the back, but they wanted to go in a different direction. Larry Drew, nice job given the circumstances, was the right man for that time, but now they want to go in a different direction.
On a couple of occasions, Dan Gilbert has gone after a splash. In this case, he went for Calipari one time, but he's also been going after Tom Izzo, who's coaches at
seemingly every other year.
Yeah, coaches at Michigan State, which is where Dan Gilbert went to school. You think he'll make a run at it? One more run?
Maybe, but now we're at a point, aren't we, Les, with Izzo, where is he that sexy? I mean, yes, he just got his team to the Final Four again, and he's still a hot commodity in the college ranks, but does the NBA community go, oh my gosh, wait till Tom Izzo comes here? Because when he gets here, he's going to wreck the league. And that's not disrespecting Izzo as a coach. It's simply saying that maybe his time as a hot commodity was 10 years ago. Think about the MLB. Sandy Alomar Jr. a few years ago was a hot managerial candidate. Now, I don't know that other teams go, we have to get Sandy Alomar at some point.
That's a problem for
him.
So
I don't think Izzo's the guy, and I don't even know if Gilbert would go down that road unless Izzo were to call him and say, hey, I want to get out of here, but I don't think he will.
We sort of know how Gilbert feels about general managers, and that is he doesn't think highly of them. And I wonder if he feels highly about coaches.
Well, he's changed enough of them over the years, but
doesn't mean he's right.
Right. I don't think that it will be Izzo. I don't know. Maybe he's got a college guy in mind. Maybe he and all. How much of a pull is Altman going to have? Is this going to be Altman's hire? Even if they say it is it really going to be his, or is it going to be Dan Gilbert's hire?
Well, I think ultimately it's Dan Gilbert.
I would think so, too.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. When we get back, we'll find out what Mike is thinking from Mike Macetta from Nature's Stone.
Maybe Mike's a candidate.
He could be. Could be. We'll take a break. We will come back in a moment. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. And you've got the excitement of live harness racing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday with a post time of 6 p.m. Open early every day for simulcast action. A weekly Sunday contest featuring Gulfstream Park. And you can have the top prize of $500, and that's a weekly Sunday feature against our friends at Gulfstream Park, all from Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. D-Man and I come back in a moment. More sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
When my dad started Nature's Stone right here in Northeast Ohio, he created a solution for age-old concrete problems. Unevenness, cracking, pitting, and more. Nature's Stone solves all of these problems in garages, basements, and outdoor spaces. Nature's Stone is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and always affordable. Plus, Nature's Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature's Stone installed in your home by the end of April and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Today is April 11th. Birthdays for today, 1947, Pop Fly was born. He used to be an old coach who hit big fungos, fly balls to the outfield. Michael Ray Richardson, born in this state. Jason Varitek, Trot Nixon, believe it or not, started for the Indians. Mark Teixeira and Ramon Sessions, former Cavaliers, all born on the 11th of April. 216-575-0403. Time for a How Come Quickie. How come if the Sultan of SWAT and Benedict Arnold got together, it would be the voice of Ruth and Treason?
That's fantastic.
Excellent. A+ on that one. Is Mike Macetta ready for us? I'm ready for him.
Yeah, Mike?
He's ready? I'm ready. D-Man's ready. We'll say hi to Mike Macetta out at Nature's Stone. Hello, Mike. What are you thinking tonight?
Well, first, Les, I got to tell you, congratulations. And it was an honor to be there with you today. You deserved it, and congratulations on the Cav Award. And it was just great stuff, man. We really appreciate being there today.
Well, we appreciate it. Great to have you there, no question about that. 216-575-0403 if you want to talk to Mike Macetta from Nature's Stone, one of the great companies in Northeast Ohio, but also one of the great people who work there. Mike, what do you think? The Indians win today. They're now back in first place in the division. I say don't scoff at that. Enjoy it, and now make a big run for it and win games no matter who you play.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's what baseball is all about. It's about winning the game that's in front of you, and that's what they're doing. And so they're playing against teams. I mean, Detroit came in here and they were hot. They had won again, they were 7-3 coming into this series.
And they beat
they
the Yankees. Yeah, they beat
And
the Yankees in New York a couple of times over the weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they took 2 out of 3 from them in their home stadium. And it just goes to show you how important the pitching is. And I mean, their pitching is so good. Their starting pitching, they can lose a guy like Clevenger, which I certainly don't know how that's going to factor in the long haul, but at least in the short run, Bieber stepped up, has a tremendous game today, and they were able to take 2 out of 3 from the series, and they've got their starting pitchers are doing well, and their bullpen's doing well.
Well, that's what the word was on that team. Now you got to get some hitting. D-Man, you have a thought on that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember if we've asked you this in the past, Mike. Are you worried about Jose Ramirez?
Yes, I am. And you know what? I'm gonna say something here, and this is probably a little controversial, but I remember last year there was a story that came out that he was, and I know it's not true, but that he had some something with performance enhancers and whatever they were trying to say that he was doing. But it seems like right after that story hit, he's been in this slump. He was in a slump for almost the whole second half of last year into the playoffs, and then the beginning of this year. And I'm just wondering if something is weighing on his mind that's causing this. I mean, I know they're pitching him a little bit differently. They're throwing him a lot more off-speed pitches, but you would think that a guy with that type of ability would have been able to adjust by now.
Well, Mike,
ahead,
you're
D-Man.
right. But I'll say that, and I agree. I've seen a different pattern in sequencing in the way pitchers are approaching Jose, taking advantage of his anxiousness, his eagerness to hit the ball hard, and they're throwing him more off speed. But I even have seen him this year, though, getting beat by fastballs that he shouldn't be getting beat by. And that maybe that's because he's caught in between now. And when you get caught in between, you're out of luck on both sides, both against the off speed and against the heaters.
Yeah.
But the alarming thing is he's getting beat on heaters, and that's a nerve wracking.
That is nerve wracking.
If I'm an Indian.
Yeah. On the other hand, they're not pitching. They're going after him. They're not pitching around him. So he's not getting. He's not getting any good pitches.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, they don't have the lineup behind him to be able to protect him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that definitely hurts any hitter because they can go after you and throw you certain sequences like D-Man saying that they otherwise would not throw you if there were guys on base in front of you more often and guys behind you. A guy like Ramirez thrives on that type of situation. His best season as a pro, though, overall, I think, was the year that he was batting fifth behind Carlos Santana back in, I believe it was 2017, right? When he was batting behind Carlos Santana, he had a tremendous year that year, and I think there might be something to that. And maybe it's just the placement where he's at in the order, and he just may be more comfortable batting a little bit later in the order.
Yeah, that could be. But one of the good things happening with the order is that you got Carlos Santana, who's unbelievable. He usually gets off to a 6-week bad start. Now, if he reverses that, he's going to have and continues to do what he does in the summertime. He's going to have unbelievable numbers, and he's also playing fantastic defense at first base. That was a great move getting him back.
Oh yeah, and he's been better than Encarnacion was. He may not hit for the same amount of power, but he's definitely driving in the runs, coming up big for them in the clutch. And you're right. I mean, he's playing phenomenal at first base. He's home, and I think he's happy to be home. And you're really seeing it from him right now.
Could very well be.
Meanwhile, at one center court, Mike, are you a candidate to coach the Cavs now that Drew is gone?
I think with what they have on the field or on the court, we're all candidates to coach them defense.
Yeah, but you know what?
I don't know who they're going to grab, but hey, I've said this before. That's a sport where one player can make the difference between you being a playoff team and being 19-62 or whatever they were.
I heard some guys Mike, I heard some guys talking today that, if they don't get the first pick, Zion Williamson, they'll be fine getting number 2 or number 3. No, they won't.
No.
I mean, they'll be okay, but right now he's just a player like the players the Cavaliers have right now, and Williamson is a game changer.
Zion Williamson is a game changer. He also will bring free agents here because they know that he's that good and they want to play with him. And they'll get good very quickly if they get Zion Williamson. If they don't get Zion Williamson, it's still a rebuild. They're way far away.
Yeah. It's interesting that the one guy could make the difference is the way the Cavaliers approach the next couple of years. Like you just said it. If they don't get Williamson and get one of the other top 4 or 5 players, that'll be nice, might be an improvement, but it's not Williamson. And Williamson is a game changer.
That's exactly, yeah. Williamson changes everything. Players will want to play here. You'll get free agents to come here. People will want to be traded here. The veteran guys that are getting bought out, they'll want to come here to play with that kid. I don't know if it'll happen next year, but it'll happen a lot more quickly than if they get one of these other guys. And there's some good guys in the draft. It's just Zion is the name, and that's who everybody wants to play with.
And Mike, if you think about the Cavs competition, I know it seems impossible to comprehend when the Cavs will be back in the playoff chase. But if you think about their competition in the East, imagine a New York Knicks team with Durant, Kyrie, and Williamson. Imagine trying to deal with that.
Super team. I don't think anybody beats that team. That would be unbelievable. And the Cavs would be down for a lot longer than we could even imagine.
Help me out here. One of the icons in sports, and at least within a market, would have been Magic Johnson. And it looks like, obviously, they're parting ways, and they're finding out some stuff about LeBron that we've all known. We could have told them if they just asked us.
Yeah, only this is a 34-year-old version of him.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So they don't have a lot. They don't have as much time as we had. He was injured for the majority of the year this year. The kids didn't respect him the way that they respected him here, and they didn't play real well for him. Although they did get off to a pretty good start, but that dwindled away fairly quickly. And he's another year older, and there's only so much you can put on those legs to be able to get out there and go put up the numbers that he's able to put up on a regular basis. It's got to get to him after a while, but this could all change, next year. I mean, just like D-Man said, if the Lakers are able to go and grab Durant and Anthony Davis and whoever else and go win a championship the next 2 or 3 seasons, all of a sudden the legacy changes. But yeah, Magic, he was my man. I grew up a little bit in the Los Angeles area. I love Magic Johnson, great player, and him leaving the Lakers. They're now finding out everything that we had to deal with here. Only there's just not as much time,
right?
And there's not as much invested in the player.
Well, Mike, I will say this though. I think in LeBron's defense, and I haven't offered up much of a defense of him since he became a Laker, but in this case, I think Magic much prefers to be Magic. He prefers to be the ambassador, the floater, the guy who can just stick his nose in meetings but doesn't have to do anything. I don't think he liked the day-to-day grind that was required in today's NBA in a front office. So I don't think it was as much LeBron running him out as it was Magic just not wanting to be the president of an NBA team right now.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me spin this a little bit. Had they have won 50 games this year and made it to the the NBA Finals or to the semis and lost to the Warriors in the conference finals, does Magic still leave?
I don't know. He wants to be the ambassador. I don't think he could be the ambassador anywhere but Los Angeles.
Right, but I think, Mike, that he might still leave because here is the thing. Why leave now when you're at a low point with the Lakers? If you really wanted to stay, just stick it out through the summer, see if you can land another stud or somehow trade for a stud. But he's leaving at a low point, so I don't know why he would, why he would choose to do that if it wasn't already like, all right, I got to go.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
Well, maybe he knows something that we don't. You know,
Okay.
maybe he sees the cards and he knows something that we don't, and he's getting out of there because guys aren't coming to Los Angeles. But I don't disagree with what you're saying. I mean, we'll see what happens this summer, but it'll be interesting.
You know what really gunked up the works, obviously, beside the injury, because the LeBron defenders could say the Lakers were just fine as of Christmas Day when they were trucking the Warriors and LeBron pops his groin. What really messed it up was Paul George. You can't tell me LeBron did not think that he had Paul George ready to rumble in L.A., and George said, no thanks, I'm staying in Oak City.
I think that's exactly how it came down. Hey, Mike, starting next Monday, you're going to be on with us on Monday evenings, and we'll make that move, and we appreciate you continuing on
Monday,
with us.
Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Hey, no problem, guys. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Take care.
Mike.
Congratulations again, Les.
Thank you so much, Mike Macetta at Nature Stone. 216
Applause for Mike. Applause for you, Les.
5750403 is the number to call. Dennis Manoloff, the D-Man, is with us. When we come back, we'll talk about the Browns maybe playing the New York Jets, a recreation of the 1970 game. Joe Namath, Bill Nelson in that one. Homer Jones with a kickoff return at the beginning of the second half, and the Browns held on to win. Billy Andrews with a big interception to close that one out. We'll talk about that and more, and remind you about the voice of email of Truth and Reason. You can call us anytime, 24 hours a day. 216-200-6650 is the number to call. Call anytime, leave a message for us. Try to keep it brief so we can get on the air and respond to it. And that is the email voice of Truth and Reason. And we'll come back in a moment. Dennis Manoloff with us. More sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's take a look at this date in history. And this happened on April 11th, 1992. The Indians lose to the Red Sox. In 19 innings, the game lasted 6.5 hours.
Rob Manfred's worst nightmare.
Yeah, you know, you and I love baseball so much. You like long games, and I like long games occasionally. And that must have been, I don't ask to leave baseball games, but I certainly would have left that one. Well, I have an admission. Can I make an admission?
What's that?
Remember that Seattle game the Indians won with?
When they were down 14-2 and won 15-14?
Yeah, I left in the third inning.
You did not.
I did. It was
I
ugly.
was not at the ballpark that day. It was not one of the days I was
I'm not
working.
admitting I was there. I'm admitting I wasn't there.
Yeah.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Browns versus Jets, Monday Night Football. Does it bring any bring back memories? Is that a game you'd like to see again this year? You got some pretty good young players on both sides of the ball.
Les, I can't wait for any game involving the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, the Jets, nice opponent with, as you say, young stars. You think about Mayfield versus Darnold right out of the gate.
Mayfield that was his first game, went in to replace the injured quarterback, and there you go. It all started in the Jets game.
It all started there. There were no guarantees when we were going to see Baker Mayfield.
Right.
At that point, Tyrod Taylor was, 0-1-1, the tie to the Steelers and the loss to the Saints. But, he had struggled early in the Jets game and then got dinged, and that opened the door. And then Mayfield looked fabulous in relief of Taylor and never looked back. But, you've had all sorts of allusions on social media to this, Odell talking about it specifically. You would think he's talking about the Jets in the Meadowlands, right?
Yeah, where he, of course, played. Just look at the schedule. But, again, it's not official. Probably pretty close, though.
Yeah, I mean, you put your Sherlock Holmes cap on for about 3 seconds, and you say, all right, what could he possibly be referring to?
Right.
And then you have, who is that? Adams is Twitter right there, did you say? Saying, see you in week 1. So you would think and the Jets are on the schedule, and it's a road game. So that's probably what OBJ is referring to.
We had talked last week about it would be great to play the Patriots in the first week at New England. I don't think that's a good choice. I think you want to build up some believability in the Browns that they're good. Otherwise, you're going to throw them into the wolves.
That's a solid point. You imagine opening up the season with all of the enthusiasm and the excitement, and
Boom.
Brady and Belichick are like 42-10, and you're going, whoa! But, it might be better to ease into the Patriots.
Let's go back in the 1970s, see what kind of action. The Browns won the game 31-21. Again, it was a pickoff by Billy Andrews that created the difference. And there you see it, Monday night, 23rd. Browns won that game. What a great game.
But we love Bill Nelson.
Well, there you go. Now, Baker's first game as we look at. Browns won that one because Baker Mayfield got hot in the second half, and he threw for 201 yards, and the Browns won that game. Sam Darnold for the Jets.
He struggled. I mean, that was a Greg Williams special. He made Darnold uncomfortable, and he struggled.
Just under 200 yards passing. So we'll see. I would think that Baker in the poise department is a little bit better at this early on than Sam Darnold, but a win is a win. But
and remember, Les, going into that game, Darnold was already the starter of the Jets, and Mayfield hadn't seen the field. So he had the head start on Mayfield, Darnold did, going, as far as their rookie campaigns go. But by the end of the game, it was all the buzz about, here's Baker's coming out party. I remember he was on the Thursday night set with NFL Network, and all of a sudden Sam Darnold was kind of relegated because not only did he not play well, but he didn't play well in the shadow of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, well, we'll see what it is. Should be about a week or so before they actually give out the schedules, and we can analyze them when that happens. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Coming up, how much better is the Browns' defensive line? We'll look at that and more. Sokolowski's University Inn, best place in town to go for lunch. I've been telling you, 11 to 3, Monday through Friday and Saturday nights for dinner. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski, they own and operate the oldest family-owned and operated restaurant in all of Northeast Ohio. The winner of every award there is to win, including the James Beard Foundation Award, which names 5 restaurants in the country each and every year. And they topped it just 3 years ago. No other restaurant in Cleveland has been able to do that. We'll come back in a moment with the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. More sports and Les Levine is, of course, brought to you exclusively by cleveland.com.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone flooring. Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of April and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
All right, this date in Les Levine history, rather up to date because Les Levine on this date today receives the Excellent in Radio Award from the Cleveland Association of Broadcasters. Just want to thank everybody involved in that. And we had about 300 people downtown at Windows on the River. And of course, I had to tell them that this was the most recent of all the ones I've ever gotten.
Of all the awards you've ever picked up, this is the most recent.
216. So, all right, we look back in the week as we go. We retrospect a little bit. April 8th, 1963, Les's favorite player, Willie Kirkland, hits 3 home runs, and then he bunts, figuring nobody would expect it, and he was right. Nobody did expect it. Then we moved to the 9th, and the first game of wiffle ball was played at the Chavez Levine, in the backyard of Les's house. We go to the 10th, and he couldn't get a date for the senior prom, D-Man. After 7 tries on the 8th, hoping not to fail, he asked one of the friends who was a girl, he said, at the risk of dating myself, nobody else would go out with me.
Nice.
Had to date myself. How could somebody turn down that good-looking guy? How's that? Put that up again. How can you turn that guy down?
Far from me to critique Terry Pluto, but I had a little itty-bitty critique of the article. And
All right, hold on. When you look at that, how did that guy have trouble getting dates? Okay, what do you have?
No, I don't think he gave you enough credit for being a terrific amateur baseball player. A terrific baseball player growing up.
Yeah.
You probably undersold it, and you didn't mention Stone. You and Stone
We played on some pretty good teams. He dominated. We had some pretty good teams, the Go team, and I'll tell you a story about them. The Go team in the 60s, early 60s. Rich Liskovic was the coach, and during the rest of the year, he was a math professor at Arizona State. Bobby Winkles was the coach. And Winkles didn't know Liskovic, and Liskovic one time went up to him, introduced himself, and said, I coach a team in Cleveland, and I got a pretty good guy that I think could help you. He said, well, we don't have any openings. All our scholarships are out, but if he wants to show up and come out and try out, I'd be more than willing to look at him. There's a guy named Sal Bando. And so Winkles says to Liskovic, listen, anytime you got a guy that you think can play, you just send him out. We'll find a way to find the scholarship money. Could you imagine that Sal Bando falls on Winkles' lap?
Wow. That's a great story.
In those years, he had Reggie Jackson. He had, who was the left-handed center fielder who grabbed the American flag from the kid who ran out? Rick Monday, yeah. Look how I remember names. Well, I don't remember names anymore, but that guy who ripped the kid for getting the flag at Wrigley Field. But could you imagine that team with those guys?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Barry Bonds played for Arizona State, didn't he? I thought he did.
Yep, I think he did. I don't think it was in those years, though.
Kipnis
also
was
played there.
Arizona or Arizona State?
Yeah, but they weren't as dominating as they had been.
Oh, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, Arizona State back in the day was awesome.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. The D-Man Dennis Manoloff is here. We got one more scheduled segment to go. In the meantime, each week, the Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education, they have a program that recognizes students who are role models from across the state of Ohio. This week, we head to Brecksville High, and we'll meet up with Hannah Bach. Hannah excels in the swimming and in the classroom as well. The Ohio Lottery proud to salute Hannah Bach, this week's Shining Star from the Ohio Lottery.
As a junior last season, Hannah Bach achieved one of her goals. She won the state championship in the 100 breaststroke. Bach, who finished 5th as a sophomore, was thrilled, but not satisfied.
Motivated me a lot. I just wanted to be a 2-time state champ because nobody's ever done that before at our school, so I thought that'd be a really good goal to have.
When Bach won states in her junior year, her time was 1 minute, 0.75 seconds. Her goal became to swim the 100 breast in under a minute.
My mindset the entire season leading up to the state championship was to go under a minute, and I did.
Bach was the first girl in Ohio to swim under a minute, and she did it twice. The first time at districts and the second time to defend her state championship.
It was overwhelming. The entire crowd was just on their feet, and I could feel the energy. It was just surreal.
We were all jumping up and down on the side and of the pool deck, and so happy for her because she's been so focused on breaking a minute. And just like the 4-minute mile, I'm sure there'll be a lot more swimmers after it, but breaking that barrier the first time is, as you know, really, really hard.
Bach is in elite company with her times, and her success is motivating Hannah to think even bigger and work even harder.
I'm faster right now than a lot of, Olympic swimmers than they were at my age. So that just gives me motivation to, in the future, what can I do or how fast I can go.
If she swam that same race at the Big Tens, she would have placed 5th. So as a senior in high school. And the Big Tens is probably one of, if not the fastest conference in the United States.
Speaking of the Big Ten, Hannah is excited she will be swimming for the Ohio State Buckeyes next season.
I looked at a few schools, but when I went to Ohio State, I really felt at home. I felt that the coaches, really put their hearts and souls into the program. Academics are very important. There's always that kind of balance and time management that you learn when you're a swimmer and a student athlete. I'm not going to college just for swimming. I'm going for an education.
OhioLottery.com, go to the About section and find the tab that's marked Supporting Education, and I nominate him or her as an academic all-star. He or she could end up as one of our shining stars from the Ohio Lottery. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. Cleveland Bill writes in today. He says, be grateful for the start. He says fans should be grateful for the Indians' 8-4 start considering their overall situation. Would fans have been happy on March 27th if told the Indians would be 4 games over 500 on April the 11th? I think so. That's from Cleveland Bill. You agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And just think about, I've had criticism of the way that the Cavaliers have comported themselves or did comport themselves en route to 19 and 63.
What, having too much fun?
It seemed like they were enjoying it. It seemed like they got comfortable losing, okay? But imagine, and it didn't seem like they received a whole lot of criticism for the amount of losses that were piling up.
Right.
Now, you say, well, don't you understand? They're in a rebuild. Yes. No LeBron, injuries, okay, fine. But imagine the Indians starting a rebuild and losing 115 games, which is, by my math, which is not good, roughly the equivalent of what the Cavs were doing winning percentage-wise, I think is like 115 losses.
Right.
Imagine, they're not going to get a pass. The Indians aren't going to get a pass if they rack up 115 losses. Oh, well, don't you understand? They're in a rebuild. No. People wouldn't understand.
No, they wouldn't. They're not in a rebuild. John Patrick is not grading his own emails anymore, so he's leaving it up to us. And he says, I've only got one for you today. How come a teacher who takes attendance is absent-minded? You like that one?
That's solid. Yeah.
Solid. A solid 6.5, as far as I'm concerned. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Pro Football Focus, looking at the Browns' situation on the defensive line. Let's take a look at what they have seen. They see that they're ranked 26th in the NFL at the end of the 2018 pro football season. Javon Coley had the second worst pass rushing productivity for interior linemen. Emmanuel Agba was ranked last among the edge rushers in that category. So we got to go easy on putting these guys in the Hall of Fame in Canton so soon.
Yeah, I can't wait for the season to start, but the coaches can't because they need to see these guys work with each other and how they're going to form.
Sheldon Richardson was signed as a free agent, 49 tackles last year, and Vernon, 65 tackles, or 65 tackles for losses. He had 6, and he had sacks 4.5 for Sheldon Richardson and 7 for Olivier Vernon. And quarterback hits 16 by Sheldon Richardson and 21 by Olivier Vernon. It's kind of a new stat that they're pushing.
The QB hits?
Yeah.
Well, and I like that because, and QB pressures, because there are times where the D lineman does his job and he just gets beat because the quarterback got rid of the ball in a hurry,
right? But
he
still gets credit for a good game, a good play.
I like when you judge a pressure because maybe you pressured the quarterback into doing something he didn't want to do. It results in an incompletion or maybe a pick, and you don't get a sack, but you still affected the play.
Exactly. We have Chris Antonetti looking at the injury update. He's got Francisco Lindor. Ran around in the dirt today, and he took some ground balls. Still no target date for the return. They weren't that specific back in the day when guys were coming back from injuries.
Well,
I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
But there's so much media paying attention, and everybody wants to know every little morsel. But, it's unfortunate because it seemed like Lindor was on track to be playing by now if it hadn't been for the ankle.
Let's go to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. It's Alan who's in Euclid. Alan, go ahead.
Les, this is Alan in Euclid. I was just wondering, what are Jose Ramirez's stats since the story broke last year about his use of PEDs, which he denied? Just curious. Thanks.
Thank you. Remember, you can't argue with the recording.
We
all heard the stories, but I don't think anybody proved anything.
No, it was generally regarded as bunk. It was immediately just almost laughed at when it came out. I'm not saying there's any credence to it whatsoever, but
you got to look at it.
Mike Masetta mentioned it. The caller mentioned it. I've gotten emails and texts that have said, "Is it a coincidence that since that news broke that Ramirez has fallen off, even if it's just a mental thing?"
And if he took less money, then perhaps he could have gotten on the open market.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He still projects the confidence that we've known, of Jose Ramirez. Right. He's always been a confident player, but this has to be weighing on him. I think Brian said today he was 0 for 5 with 2 Ks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going
to be hovering around 100 no matter what.
Pretty soon, it's going to get mental with him if it isn't there already.
All right, continuing on, according to Chris Antonetti, Jason Kipnis, scheduled to play for Columbus for the Clippers today, could return to the Indians as soon as or during the current road trip. Tyler Clippard, recovering from a strained pectoral muscle, and the pitching, he'll be pitching a simulated game later today, and that'll be close to rehabbing. And there, Bradley Zimmer, symptoms from the strained oblique muscle have subsided, and a return to hitting and throwing should be coming soon. So there you have it.
And not on the list is Carlos Gonzalez, who is not injured. He simply needs to, as soon as he says, "I'm ready," he's a starter on the Indians.
And
as soon as he tells
and they got to make a deal by the 20th.
Is that the term?
Yeah.
With Gonzalez?
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean,
I would assume they'll say join us on the 19th.
Yeah. As soon as if he says right now, my timing's good enough, then he's in the lineup tomorrow night.
Absolutely. All right, D-Man. The Indians win 2 out of 3 from Detroit. Move on to Kansas City, and then they'll go out to Seattle. Should be interesting to see how they do this on this long 9-game road trip.
Yeah, absolutely. The Indians will be fine, and they're going to be fine even with the injuries. And once again, congrats, Les, on your achievement.
I appreciate it very much. The D-man, Dennis Manoloff. When are you on WKYC next?
19th.
Or WTAM.
Post-game show, 19th, April 19th.
Very good. All right, thanks to the D-man, Dennis Manoloff. We'll see you on Monday, and we'll do this again. Hopefully the Indians have some more wins under their belt. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.